Welcome to the Prophecy Club. My topic today is not of my choice. So I ran across several different topics, and as I was preparing these, I kept getting yawns. And it kept coming to me that this is a topic I need to put out. So fine. So I'm putting it out. Now, why was I resisting? Because this is like high technology, and that's not exactly my area of expertise. I prefer just teaching Bible prophecy, but the topic today is actually very important. And I have to say, in this case, God definitely wanted me to put it out. So this is apparently something that we prophecy students need to be looking into very seriously. And the topic is artificial intelligence about to become the image of the beast? Now, for us to understand that, we got to go to the scriptures first and find out what is the image of the beast. So that's the next question. What is the image of the beast? So you go to Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. Now this is the false prophet. This is the religious side. The first verse is talking about the political side, and it's coming up out of the people. This one, however, is coming up out of the earth. So this one arises out of religion. And he had two horns like a lamb, and I believe this is talking specifically about the Catholic Church in general, and Christians, or maybe better to say the Catholic Church in specific, Christians in general. But anyway, had two horns like a lamb, and sure enough, there are actually two popes, a black pope and a white pope. Has nothing to do with skin color, has to do with one is public, one is not public. Anyway, let's go on. He exercises all the power of the first beast before him. In other words, this is the false prophet that is exercising amazing technology. Technology that at this point might not have even been found, hopefully. But it's probably been found. It just hasn't been released to us public yet. He exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and he causeth the earth, that's us, and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast. In other words, this is the false prophet saying everybody got to worship the Antichrist or the beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Now, that's not the only great wonder. So what we're about to see is technology from Lucifer that has been developing it for now some 6,000 years, and he's been given the power and the authority to release it to his demons and some of his workers here on earth in order to enslave mankind, to force them to take the mark of the beast. That's the way we would say it. He deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by how? By miracles, by high technology, technology that they've never seen before, and aliens they've never seen before. Miracles which had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. Right now, who's saying this? This is the false prophet saying to all the people on the earth that the people of the earth should make some kind of an image. Now, why does it call it an image? Because it's an image to the beast. You and I are made in the image of God, the Bible says. Okay, so an image to the beast means that it's not made of the image of God, but in that it is made, I don't think it's just mechanical, but I also don't think it is just flesh and blood. I think it's a combination, and I'm about to show you what I think is compelling proof to back that up exactly. Same to them that dwell on the earth, in other words, the people on the earth. So this is the false prophet saying to people on the earth, everybody got to make this image of the beast, and which had the wound by a sword and did live. Now, this is the image of the beast, meaning this is a copy, probably a clone, of the Antichrist. Got it? Okay, so we've got the false prophet is telling everybody on earth they've got to make a clone or a copy or an image of the Antichrist. Now, let's go on. And he had power. So this is the false prophet had power to give life to the image of the beast. And the image of the beast should both speak and cause. So this image is something that can issue orders. And it tells as many as would not worship the image of the beast. So now we've got to not only worship the Antichrist, but also his image. Got it? And that image is probably half flesh, according to Jason Meeks, a dream he had, and confirmed by others, that it's going to be a combination of computer and flesh. I believe his exact words in the vision he had, he said he saw that it was hard to tell when flesh left and computer started. Hard to tell when metal left and muscle began. It just was kind of all melded together. Now, 20 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do this. And it may be 20 years ago, Lucifer couldn't do this. Or it may be that he's been able to do this for thousands of years, just now able to release it, as the courts of heaven has allowed him to release it. Let me read this last scripture again. And he had power to give life. So this is the false prophet having power to give life to an image that is definitely not God and probably half flesh, half computer. And the image of the beast should both speak and cause, so he issues orders, and as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, and we're rested that we're familiar with. Small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, receive a mark on their right hand and their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark in the name of the beast, or the numbers of 666. Okay, now let's get to the point. So, try it. Go to your favorite search engine on the internet and type in 2 words. I did. In artificial intelligence, in preparing for this, I was shocked. Now, I was expecting to see pictures of computers. That's not what I saw. If you'll take a minute and just look at what artificial brought up, it didn't bring up pictures of fancy computers, row upon rows of computers, and all of these wires and things like that. It brought up pictures of humans. So as far as our search engines, and by the way, it wasn't just this little, it was page after page after page. So it's saying that artificial intelligence has to do with humans. Isn't that saying what we just read from the scriptures? So, you might be saying, so what is so bad about a smart computer? Okay, well, that's one of the big questions. So, anything that mankind has been able to come up with that is high technology, he almost always uses it to kill someone else. So what is the best weapon? Probably a really smart computer. The smart computer could control all communications, all of the internet, all air, sea, land, transportation, not be able to buy or sell unless you had the mark, unless you had this AI computer could control the whole world. One computer controlled the whole world, and then, as a result of that, take control of it, tell us what to do. Okay, for example, it could also keep a list of resistors to what they are pushing, such as the anti-V. Of course, I can't say that word. Approved attitudes, if you don't have their approved attitude, such as if you're eating meat or consuming too much or going to church or owning a Bible, something like that, it could monitor and track that. As a matter of fact, you do recall that they are tracking everything right now, right? Okay, your cell phone can get them within 3 feet of you, and not only that, but your Apple Watch, if you have one of those, if you have like an Alexa and there's another thing out there, it could be monitoring every word that we say. I was once in a meeting one time, and a person came in with some very important information. My opinion turned up not to be so important, but he asked everyone to take their cell phones and their Apple Watches off and leave them in the other room, just so that they could talk. But again, it wasn't all that important. But the point is, if there were a computer that big, that powerful, that smart, to where it could monitor every communication, every word on every radio, every TV, every internet, every phone call, everything, then it would pretty much know who is for it and who's against it. It could also be using computer-guided killing machines. I know you may be saying, oh, yeah, you're talking about Terminator stuff. Well, did you know that they're using drones right now in Ukraine and in Russia to kill one another? And some people are saying that they're automatic. In other words, they're controlled by a computer. They go out and just find somebody and kill them. Now, I don't know that that's true. For example, there have been movies that portray bees able to go out and spot people and listen to them. And I played on this program here 3 or 4 months ago where these little things about the size of bees can fly through a bunch of trees, tracking someone and not hit a tree and track them down. I also played another video of a person that threw one up about the size of a silver dollar, and it came back and killed this robot, this kind of a mannequin, hit him right between the eyes with a little explosive device and killed him. I played that on the program. So those kind of things could be out there. Bees, robots, dogs, they could, with this computer, start cutting off our water, electricity, gas, our electric vehicles. You know, it keeps coming to me. Why are they pushing electric vehicles so much when they're really not that efficient? When there's so much more to make, then you got to tear up more of the soil to get all the various metals out to make the batteries. Why are they pushing electric vehicles so much? And it has to be part of their agenda down the road, and they're going to be able to control them, I guess. Okay. Article, AI pioneer quits Google to warn about the technology's dangers. Geoffrey Hinton, who's been called the godfather of AI, confirmed Monday that he left his role at Google last week. Why? Because he wants to speak out about the dangers of the technology he helped to develop. He quit so he could speak freely. He said, if I hadn't done it, somebody else would have. Insiders have raised alarms about the potential for a new crop of AI-powered chatbots to spread misinformation and displace jobs. Okay, they are not making computers, very, very fast computers, chatbots, or an AI computer to replace jobs. Okay, that's not why they're doing it. Why? Because they want to force people to take that mark of the beast. We know that. Most people do not realize that. The wave of attention around ChatGPT last year helped renew an arms race among the tech companies to develop and employ similar AI tools in their products. OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google are at the forefront of this trend, but IBM, Amazon, Baidu, and Tencent are working on similar technologies. So we have the biggest, most powerful, the smartest companies in the world, working to develop AI, artificial intelligence. The article goes on to say some prominent figures in each tech signed a letter calling for artificial intelligence labs to stop the development, at least for 6 months. Elon Musk was one of them. Again, I don't think he's a good guy. I think he's playing the part of a good guy to do some bad things. Now, I can't prove that, and I'm not saying anything bad about him that I know. I'm just saying I suspect it. Came just 2 weeks after the OpenAI announced GPT-4 at an even more powerful version of the technology that powers this ChatGPT. In early tests, a company demo of GPT was used to draft lawsuits, pass standardized exams, and build a working website from a hand-drawn sketch. AI's potential to eliminate jobs and create, again, they're not trying to eliminate jobs, okay? A world where many will not be able to know what is true anymore. That's not the problem either. This stuff could actually get smarter than people. It is going to transform society in ways we do not fully understand, and not all of the effects are going to be good, creating such things as lethal autonomous weapons. Okay, what is a lethal autonomous weapon? It means that you send out a drone, you tell it to go kill this person, you give it perhaps a possible location, but maybe it has the ability to charge from the sun, so it gets halfway there, it gets low, it finds a little hiding place until it charges, until it goes out and finds that person and blows them up or kills them. In other words, lethal autonomous weapons means you assign that computer to go kill this person or this person's or drop this whatever it was, however they're going to destroy them, and they do it. Done. As soon as you release it, the job's done. Now, it may take a couple of months for them to find the person, but that's okay. They'll get the job done. Much more terrifying than robots taking over. In July, the company fired an engineer who claimed an unreleased AI system became sentient. I had to look that word up, sentient. It means what Terminator said, self-aware. In other words, it started thinking outside of and independent of humans. AI will cause significant labor market disruption over the next 5 years. Okay, it's not significant labor market disruption. Yes, it's probably going to start removing a lot of jobs as it comes into power. But they're not doing it to make more money. They got a printing press. They can make all the money they want. They're not doing it to remove jobs. They can do that anytime they want to. They've already started that. The emergence of AI applications like ChatGPT, which uses machines to simulate human reasoning and problem solving, will have a particularly pronounced impact by displacing and automating many roles that involve reasoning, communicating, coordinating, the report said. 75% of surveyed companies said that they expect to adapt AI technologies over the next 5 years. Okay, well, how would that fit in? Well, that's getting pretty close to about when we think the mark of the beast might be coming out, which they predict will eliminate up to 26 million jobs. Well, it may be actually killing 26 million. In record-keeping and administrative positions, think things like cashiers, ticket clerks, data entry, accounting. Why would you need accounting anymore if the AI is already tracking and monitoring everything that goes into your account? Everything that comes out of your account? Just like right now, we don't use paper maps to get where we're going anymore. We just tell our cell phone where we want to go. Like the slide rule went away when they came out with little computers, little calculators. WEF study surveyed more than 800 companies that collectively employ 11.3 million workers across 45 economies from all over the world. They say there's going to be a lot of jobs lost. It's not jobs. Neville Johnson said the scene changed. The angel was holding a large man upside down by his leg. He began shaking the man violently up and down. I watched as all kinds of things began falling out of the man's pockets, such as things like gold, silver, inventions, which seemed to be in connection with energy as well as other inventions. There were cures for certain diseases. Also falling from the man's pockets were cures such as cancer, diabetes, asthma, Alzheimer's diseases, and other diseases. Now, they say that this AI can solve just about any problem. So how about if we tell AI, solve cancer, solve diabetes, asthma, solve it? It goes on to say the cures of these diseases already exist, but have been hidden by the pharmaceutical companies. Maybe so. But maybe this AI is going to be used to make changes in our world in big ways we cannot even possibly imagine. So much so to say, all right, well, this Jesus, I got to tell you about him, and then start ripping him up. As remember, Revelation 13 said, and he was given a mouth for speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth and blasphemed against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. So brothers and sisters, this AI could be a really big problem. And I'm not convinced that it's in the developing stages. It could be that it was developed centuries ago by Lucifer. But this is the way he's bringing it into our system. Just like he brought the calculator in slowly. He brought the computer in, the computer chip in slowly, and let people learn about it. That's probably, if we really knew the truth, that's probably what's really going on. As I watched this unfold, the angel again shouted the words, shake, exposure, transfer. At this point, I began to see exposures in the church. Hidden things come to light. A purifying work in the church gets underway. It will shock many people, but it is the work of God. For the time come that judgment must begin at the house of God. If it first begin at us, what shall the end of them that obey not the gospel of God? I saw Japan being shaken by volcanoes and earthquakes in a way that had repercussions around the world. I saw upheavals in Thailand. I saw China taking a much firmer grip on Hong Kong, and that has happened. There will be clashes in the South China Sea. Vicky Goforth Parnell has been told about those. Next article, AI could go Terminator and gain upper hand over humans and Darwinian rules of evolution, the report warns. So artificial intelligence could gain the upper hand over humanity and pose catastrophic risks. Evolution by natural selection could give rise to selfish behavior as it strives to survive. Firstly, the natural selection may be a dominant force in AI development. Secondly, evolution by natural selection tends to give rise to selfish behavior. In other words, once the AI computer becomes self-aware, perhaps it already is, just like in the Terminator movie, it sees humans as the problem. We got to get rid of them. Only they don't see humans as the problem. Lucifer sees them as the thing he wants to bow the knee and confess his name as God. And if you don't do that, they're going to kill you. See how this fits together? Competitive pressures among corporations and militaries will give rise to AI agents that automate human roles, deceive others, and gain power. If such agents have intelligence that exceeds that of humans, this could lead to humanity losing control of the future. And he may be exactly right. Actually, it will be humanity, it will be Christians losing control, and we've almost lost it, if not already. Christians must enter the AI arms race, Gab News says. If you're an engineer who has experience with AI and are interested in working on this project with us, please get in touch. It gives the email. There's been a lot of debate recently about artificial intelligence with the launch of the ChatGPT, Silicon Valley's latest technology darling. Technology like ChatGPT is trained to generate information by ingesting enormous informations of data sets and generating sentences based upon that data. It is subject to the bias of both the data it ingests and the programmers who train it. It can mimic different writing styles and be forced to ignore taboo or hateful subjects. Its designers program it to avoid. Think of it more as Google search and Wikipedia on steroids than a Terminator ESQ sentient AI. AI is a mere reflection of the people who program it, within a set of boundaries. But what happens when you give AI no boundaries and allow it to speak freely? Well, the AI becomes incredibly based and incredibly, I think the word should be biased, and starts talking about taboo truths no one wants to hear. This has happened repeatedly and led to several previous generations of AI systems being shut down rather quickly. In other words, it starts telling them what they don't want to hear, the truth. So ChatGPT is programmed to scold you for asking controversial questions, then shoves a liberal dogma down your throat, trying to program your mind to stop asking such questions. This is why I believe, he says, we must build our own AI and give AI the ability to speak freely without the constraints of liberal propaganda wrapped tightly around its neck. AI is the new information arms race, such as like social media before. At Gab, we have been experimenting with different AI systems that have popped up all over the past year. Every single one, here's the point, is skewed with a liberal, globalist, Talmudic, satanic worldview. So what if Gab AI Inc. builds a Gab that has no hate speech filters and doesn't obfuscate and distort historical and biblical truth? On the other hand, what they're saying is this AI, this image of the beast, has at the core the devil. So that means the whole purpose and the point of it is going to be to kill, steal, and destroy. If the enemy goes to use this technology for evil, shouldn't we be on the ground floor building one for good? If we don't build and gain ground now, our enemies will dominate this powerful tool and use it for evil. Probably true. Flashback. Stephen Hawking warned AI could mean the end of the human race in years leading up to his death. He says it's tempting to discuss the notion of highly intelligent machines as mere science fiction, but this would be a mistake and potentially our worst mistake ever. And I'll even say the last mistake. Elon Musk and Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, in a letter, along with thousands of other experts, signed a letter asking for a 6-month pause on building AI systems. Why? AI systems with human competitive intelligence can pose profound risks to society and humanity. Oh, sure, that computer's not going to hurt us. AI's ChatGPT, became the fastest growing user database with over 100 million monthly active users in January, in 1 month. Across the world, rushed to use the chatbot, which simulates human-like conversations based on prompts it has given. The lab released the latest iteration of the platform, GPT-4. Google is working to create a new one that relies on AI. Microsoft has rolled out the new Bing search engine, described as users as AI-powered copilot for the web, and Musk said he will launch a rival AI system that he described as a maximum truth-seeking. No, this is going to be straight out of the pit of hell. Hawking advised the world needed to learn how to prepare for and avoid, listen carefully this, the potential risks associated with AI, arguing that the systems could be the worst event in the history of our civilization. He could be true. Success in creating effective AI could be the biggest event in the history of our civilization, or the worst. So, it may very well be that this is going to be the image of the beast, and though they say they're coming out with it, it may be that it's been ready to go for 10 or 15 years. We don't know, but what we do know is the image of the beast, the mark of the beast, world government, world religion, world currency, digital currency is coming. I just got something in the mail today, a new one. I have one of these on my car, my wife's car. Also, they have another version for the house. This is their newest one, though. EMP Shield. It's really neat. You just peel off the back thing here, peel this off, stick it under your hood someplace, and then they've got videos to show you how to do it. Red wire to the red side of the battery, green wire to the body of the car, black wire to the black wire of the battery, and you're good to go. I'm not a mechanic. It took me about 10 minutes to put it on. Not a problem. And if you want your car to start when the trouble hits, it'd be a good idea to have one of these, and you get it at empshield.com, empshield.com. And if you put in the promo code PROPHECY, get you a $50 discount, and it helps your Prophecy Club. What is wrong with this? You say, well, it's a piece of bread. You're right. It's a piece of bread I took out of this loaf. This loaf is a 1 pound loaf, and there's something missing from this bread. Even though it says it is whole wheat, there's still something missing from this and almost all of the bread you're eating. See, the story was in 1860, the smart humans decided that they were going to outstrip God, and that they could figure out a way to where the flour would not spoil, because once you break the wheat berry, then it begins to spoil, and in 7 to 10 days, it's got mold. So they figured out how they could be smarter than God. We're going to take out the outside shell and then the wheat germ. We're only going to use the white powder part of the wheat. And that doesn't spoil. And they're right. You can put it in a bag. 5 years later, it's still there. But then, of course, there's something else they removed. And that is most. Now, not all, but most of the nutrition. So then they had to pass all of these laws saying you got to put niacin, you got to put vitamins, you got to do this, put all of this into the... So why not just use what God made? So the difference between this and what I made is this. That's the difference in my bread, whole wheat bread, versus what you buy in the store. The bigger slice here, this is actually cherry, cinnamon, honey, and vanilla mixed together. And I made this. So when you make your own homemade bread, you can make it flavor any way. You want jalapeno, you got it. You want to have seeds, sesame seeds, however you want to, you can make it. But the big advantage to making your own whole wheat bread is that it's probably the cheapest way to have long-term storage food, because most of your long-term storage food companies cost $9,000 to $10,000 per person per year. But at Joseph's Kitchen, they can show you how to feed your family for about $1,000 per person per year, and it's whole wheat. Okay, so what is whole wheat? over the regular wheat. Well, you remember the 7 years of plenty followed by the 7 years of famine of Joseph and the Pharaoh. Well, that meant that the whole world lived off of wheat for 7 years. Now, I don't think that maybe Jesus said, man should not live by bread alone, meaning you should have other things that you should eat. However, about the closest thing out there that'll feed you not only good tasting, but also nutrition for your body is wheat. And so we recommend you go to josephskitchen.com. When you go there, you got to get 2 things. One is you have to get a machine package. That's the items that you need to actually physically make the bread. It's a wheat grinder where you put the wheat in. 30 seconds later, you have flour. You put it into a bread machine with 6 other ingredients. Push a button, 2 hours, 20 minutes later, you have a nice, hot, steaming loaf of wonderful, that you made, whole wheat bread. Slice that up. The slicer's even included. The beakers, everything. It's everything you need to make bread. Then you decide how much food you want to have. You want to have food for 6 people 1 year, 4 people 1 year, 2 people 1 year. You place your order, and they have it in stock. Because most of these long-term storage food places, they're out. Some of them are 2 or 3 months. Some of them are even longer behind in filling their orders. But at Joseph's Kitchen, they can ship within 2 or 3 days. And they ship around the world. Go to josephskitchen.com. I'm telling you that the prophecies say there's about to be a food shortage. And if you want to listen to what God's trying to warn us about, then you'll get this long-term storage food. Terry Saka, Cornerstone Asset Metals.com. So why should people go online or call you today?
Seymour Hersh, an amazing investigative journalist, laid out the case that the United States is the one that blew up the Nord Stream pipelines, hurting our very own allies. That is a nation that is desperate because their currency is on the verge of losing reserve status. That's not good for a United States dollar, and why we better be protected.
Terry Saka, Cornerstone Asset Metals.com. Give him a call or go online today. Cornerstone Asset Metals.com. Leslie Johnson had a prophecy back in 2011. She says, the Lord says there's going to be something put into the water supply in many cities of the nation. People will begin to get sick, some will die. Get a good, reliable water filter. You will not be able to trust the tap water or the bottled water. You must get something to filter the water you are going to need. That's back in 2011. So if you want it, we suggest you go to prophecyclub.com. You click right here where it says Berkey's. This is what it looks like. Currently, all Berkey's are in stock. The one I have is this guy right here. It's the Crown. It has 8 filters. I recommend you get as much as you can afford, and also recommend you get some extra filters. That's at prophecyclub.com.